Today, we're diving into an intriguing political move that has caught the attention of both the UK and Northern Ireland. Michelle O'Neill, the First Minister of Northern Ireland, is set to meet King Charles at Windsor Castle, but there's a twist. She's declined the offer to stay overnight. Let's unpack what's going on here and why this has made headlines. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy royal and political stories. Michelle O'Neill is one of the leading figures in Sinn Féin, and today, she will meet King Charles alongside other political leaders from Scotland, Wales, and the UK. The meeting at Windsor Castle has been scheduled as a way to discuss key issues affecting the devolved governments within the UK. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite the high-profile gathering and the invitation to stay overnight, O'Neill has made a bold decision. She's opting not to stay at Windsor Castle. Instead, she will stay elsewhere. Now, before we dive deeper into the reasons behind this move, let's take a step back and look at the context here. O'Neill's refusal to stay at Windsor Castle has stirred quite a bit of conversation. In fact, it's making headlines, particularly in the British press, with some outlets framing it as a snub to King Charles himself. It's been pointed out that this is the first time in decades that a senior Sinn Féin member has declined an invitation to stay at a royal residence. And if you know anything about the history between Sinn Féin and the British monarchy, this decision carries significant weight. Sinn Féin, the political party to which O'Neill belongs, has had a complex and often fraught relationship with the British monarchy. The Troubles, which spanned from the late 1960s to the 1998 signing of the Good Friday Agreement, left a lasting impact on Northern Ireland. The period was marked by violent conflict, with Sinn Féin, led by figures like Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness, strongly opposing British rule in Northern Ireland. While the peace process has moved forward, the historical tensions between Sinn Féin and the monarchy have not been entirely erased. O'Neill's decision not to stay overnight at Windsor isn't just a personal preference. It's deeply symbolic. For Sinn Féin, even now, such gestures are seen as part of the broader political and cultural dynamics at play. The refusal can be interpreted as a way to distance herself and the party from the monarchy. A reminder that Sinn Féin still represents a segment of Northern Ireland that opposes the British Crown's influence. But let's be clear, O'Neill's meeting with King Charles isn't about personal relationships. It's about political engagement. As First Minister, she has a responsibility to represent her people and ensure that Northern Ireland's interests are heard at the highest levels of government. So, while the decision to meet the king is important, her choice to stay elsewhere sends a message that she's engaging with the monarchy on a professional, not ceremonial level. It's also worth noting that O'Neill has met King Charles before. When Charles visited Northern Ireland in 2022 following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, O'Neill was one of the leaders who attended. She also participated in his coronation the following year, which indicates that despite the symbolic distance, there's room for cooperation in certain contexts. What's the significance? So why does this matter? Well, it's about optics and political strategy. By declining the overnight stay, O'Neill ensures that Sinn Féin's stance on the monarchy remains clear, while still participating in an important political dialogue. It shows that while the party is willing to engage with the British government and the monarchy on the issues that matter, they're also keen to maintain their independence and not be drawn into royal pageantry. This sets a tone for how Sinn Féin approaches these kinds of engagements in the future. It also speaks to the broader tension between the different nations of the UK, and how Northern Ireland fits into that puzzle. With the ongoing issues surrounding Brexit, the Northern Ireland Protocol, and the broader conversation about Irish unity, every gesture, every decision matters. O'Neill's move today, though seemingly small, is a signal to both her supporters and her critics that she's committed to working in the best interests of Northern Ireland, but not at the cost of compromising Sinn Féin's principles. The British press has, of course, jumped on this story, particularly The Telegraph, which made the decision the front-page news. This kind of media attention isn't new for Sinn Féin, as they've often been in the spotlight due to their political stances, particularly regarding Northern Ireland's place within the UK. For some, the refusal to stay at Windsor is seen as a direct snub to King Charles, while others argue that it's a sensible political choice given the party's history. Regardless of how you view it, it's clear that this small decision is sparking a larger conversation about Northern Ireland's future and its relationship with the British monarchy. Looking ahead. So, what does this mean for the future of Northern Ireland and its relationship with the monarchy? O'Neill's decision not to stay at Windsor Castle is unlikely to change much in terms of Sinn Féin's broader political agenda. However, it's a reminder that the road to full reconciliation and understanding is still a long one. Sinn Féin's relationship with the British monarchy is something that will continue to evolve over time, especially as Northern Ireland's political landscape shifts. In the coming years, we may see more gestures like this from Sinn Féin leaders, or we may see a shift in the party's approach. Only time will tell. That's all for today's deep dive into Michelle O'Neill's meeting with King Charles and the decision to decline the overnight stay at Windsor Castle. This move is a small but significant moment in the ongoing dialogue between Northern Ireland and the British monarchy. It speaks to the complex and evolving relationship between the two, and how Sinn Féin continues to navigate the tricky waters of politics in a post-Troubles world. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update on the royal stories and political moments that matter. Until next time, this is Throne Talk, bringing you the latest and greatest in royal news and political insights. See you in the next video.